Greeting YouTube. I am fully vaccinated. I received my second shot on May 14th, Friday, May 14th, around between 12:30 and 1 p.m. And the only side effects I have experienced so far is a slight soreness at the injection site, though it doesn't seem to be as severe as it was the first time. And again, kind of like a tetanus shot. If you've had a tetanus shot, you know what this is like. And if you haven't had a tetanus shot, go get a tetanus shot. You don't want lockjaw. Particularly important for me because I spend so much damn time with metal stuck in my hands. Um, and the only physical symptoms so far I've experienced a slight amount of tiredness more than I might otherwise feel, but it is 5 o'clock in the morning on after my long day of the week. So not a huge amount. I went to bed at 8:30 last night. Again, it was my long day, and I knew I'd had the injection, so I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed early. And I went to bed at 8:30, and I woke up at 3, and then I just kind of lie there with the cat on my lap for an hour, and then I get up. Um, and so far, so good. There was one downside to the experience. Well, one, and what the with this too. One is that they keep bugging you for information. I keep getting text prompts asking me for symptoms and how you're feeling again and again and again. My wife tells me that those will eventually drop off. I'm looking forward to that. But the way they sent the notifications about the second shot was some of the weirdest framing I have ever experienced. What do I mean by that? Well, the whole process is a little bit on the clunky side. None of it was really smooth because I was dealing with things both online and on my phone. So back and forth, I had to, of course, remember my login name and my login password, which is the one I'm not using. But it's a new one, and I didn't use it very often. Like I used it when I made the appointment, and then I didn't have to use it again until suddenly I had to remember it for the second one, which is almost 2 months later. So I'm like kind of panicking. Why was I panicking? Well, you see, on May 13th, the day before my appointment, so on a Thursday, I got an email on my phone. In fact, I had just gotten in bed. I could take a nap in the evening before I go to work. I just got in bed and I was going to poke at my phone for a couple minutes before I went to sleep. And I get this an email there from about COVID. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to definitely read that because I knew that the next day was my appointment. And the email says, like in the opening thing, that your appointment has been canceled. I freak out. Okay, now I have attached a lot of hope to the vaccine and getting to May 14th, getting that vaccine shot, meaning that my life can now begin to open up again. Very important to me psychologically. Okay, very important to my mental health. Okay, so there was a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety in me building up to that day. I kept being afraid something was going to happen. The little white card they give you when you got the first shot, I had that in my car. It was clipped to the cable, the power cable for my GPS. I looked at it every single time I got in the car. That was my passport to freedom, to a post-COVID life. So I get this email telling me that my appointment's canceled. I friggin' lose it. Again, I haven't used the login in like 2 months, so now I have to go look up the login in the office. Frantically trying to remember where the heck my password was. With this office, I should say. And I get it. I log in, and I finally can get through the slightly archaic process to get to the appointment section. And there's 2 notes in there for appointments. One note is for the appointment on May 14th, and there's no checkbox next. There's a checkbox, but it's empty. As in like you have not had this yet, which is why this checkbox is empty. And then below that is the appointment I had on April 16th. And there is a checkbox there, and it's been checked off. And that is when the details of the email come to light. I got an email from the CDC telling me that the appointment I had on April 16th had been canceled. On May 13th. Who frames that concept in that manner? Now, another way of looking at that would be to say, you've had that appointment. Congratulations. Now we're going to move on to your next one. Or your appointment is over. You've successfully had the first Moderna shot. We're looking forward to see you for the second one. I don't know. They framed it as though my appointment had been canceled, but the appointment I already had a month prior. I was enraged when I found this out. Unhinged. I believe the statement I told my wife is, honey, I'm going to federal prison because I'm going to hunt down the person that came up with this idea and I'm going to put a bullet in their head. I was not happy in that moment. So a very strange way to tell the world that you've had your first appointment. We're looking forward to seeing you for your second appointment. Yes, that's a very strange framing. If anyone out there who, say, works in coding or works for some kind of a federal government agency or even works for the CDC can tell me why the hell they framed it in that particular manner, I would love to know. I really would. I would like to sit down with the person who came up with the idea and have a chat and making sure that I'm not armed at the time. Because that almost broke me. That ruined my mood and essentially made it impossible for me to get any sleep. I laid in bed and I listened to some ASMR videos and that helped kind of drifty. And I think I fell asleep for maybe about a half hour. And then I had to get up and go to work. Yay! And then I got to work and I was already in a foul mood because, again, I have a hard time switching gears when you put me in a state like that. And come morning, I was feeling more normal, but I still felt bad. I apologize to my wife for being an angry asshole. So yeah, it wasn't a good framing. It wasn't smart. It wasn't well conceived. But it's over. So now the only thing I have to deal with is that the constant prompts about whether, I feel okay. So I got one already asking if I'd actually had the appointment. So I answered that one. And at the time I had felt no symptoms of any kind. And I'm not running a fever. I don't feel ill. I just feel a little fatigue. Um, and in fact, I plan on going out and doing some yard sailing this morning in the local area. I'm not going to go too far afield. And just because I can. I understand that it takes 2 full weeks for the entire thing to kick in, so I will not be engaging in any real indoor activities with crowds, and I will be wearing a mask at all times, particularly if the place requires it, but I will be wearing a mask regardless when I'm in public for a while now because I don't want to make people around me nervous. I don't want to seem like a maskless asshole because I'm not. I'm concerned for their health. So I will wear a mask as long as it is considered fashionable for those who, until it gets to the point where we have enough people finally vaccinated that masking can fall by the wayside unless you're sick. And I mean, I think that we have hopefully normalized wearing a mask when you're ill. So if there's a point in my life where I pick up a cold, I'll probably wear a mask again. Same with the flu, though I do take the vaccine for the flu every year. It doesn't mean it always works because there are multiple strains of the flu. That's why we don't have a vaccine for the cold because there's just too many variations. But yeah, so but at the moment I'm okay with going out in public, and I may even go to a flea market on Sunday because my ex is selling soap, and I want to see what kind of soap he's got. Alrighty, so thank you for listening to me ramble about this. I hope that if you have gotten the first vaccine, you're doing okay. And if you've gotten the second vaccine, I hope you're doing okay. And if you've had any symptoms from first or second, let's talk about it, see how everybody's a little different. And if you are on the fence about getting the vaccine, get off the damn fence, get an appointment, and get vaccinated. Do your part and be a decent citizen.